Hi class, how is everybody doing? I hope everybody is liking the course, and if you have any suggestion, then please come to my office hours or email me if you have any suggestions, any comments, or about regarding anything. So, but as much as I have interacted with students, they have given me positive feedback. So I hope I haven't talked to each one of you. So I hope it's going okay. All right. So today we are starting a new chapter, and so this is I'm teaching two topics together, or two chapters together. One is aquatic biotechnology, and the second is environmental biotechnology. Right? These two topics I'll be covering in this chapter. Now, you must have guessed that when I'm going to speak about aquatic biotechnology, I will be focusing on two things. One is, first is seafood or freshwater food. Second, I'll be focusing on research, like use of aquatic organisms as a research tool. And so these are the two topics that we'll be covering under the topic of aquatic biotechnology. Okay, so we all know that seafood is a major required food item in many countries across the globe, and also in some part of the world, it is used as a delicacy, seafood, and but in some part it is a major food items, especially in those cities, in those countries which have bordering sea line, or they have a huge river, line located on the city. So they tend to prefer, for example, China, Japan, or let's say even in US, people depend upon seafood a lot. So aquaculture is known as aqua farming, is a farming of aquatic organisms such as fishes, crustaceans, mollusks, aquatic plants. And one of the reasons by which seafood and fish as a food became very popular is first by the presence of they're rich in proteins, and second, unsaturated fat. And at this time, cardiovascular diseases are one of the top-notch diseases which have a high death rate. It's second to maybe cancer, or maybe first or second. So it is strongly recommended in many places that unsaturated fat and a diet rich in protein. So fish becomes a natural source for organic proteins, as well as non-fatty foods. Now, aquatic culture could be freshwater grown fishes, or sea water where there is high saline, so you cannot change them because environment plays an important role in both. And secondly, marine science, marine biology is it's a growing field, and but now people have more tools to go deep into the oceans, or go to Antarctica, or look at various plantations to understand what govern the growth of aquatic plants and animals, they have a very interesting life cycle, and especially those that grows in a very, very deep. For example, on the corals of near New Zealand or Australia, we still need to learn a lot. And again, it becomes a rich source of protein, and also non-fat foods, which is very good and healthy for human diseases, and even if somebody is healthy. So we can categorize, for simplicity, types of aquaculture or aqua farming, like fish farming. Um, fish farming could be both ocean, or in fresh water. Fresh water could be of various type. It could be stagnant, like in lakes or ponds, or in a fresh running water. In both situations, fish could be used as a to grow in large numbers for business purpose. And then shrimp farming. Shrimp is one of the most popular food that is liked all over the world, but not every country has the access to shrimp because they don't have coastline, so they have to import from those countries which have long coastline and they have well-developed shrimp farming, for example, in China, Japan, or maybe on the coast of US. You must have heard that the prawns are very popular in the area of state of Maine, more north. Boston, popular place to do farming, and even New York and New Orleans, and those cities that share the sea line. Oyster farming, alga culture. Alga culture is coming up because it is again very rich in proteins. It could be part of food. And then last is ornamental fishes. So fishes are rich source of good quality food, but fishes could also be could be in our living room, as a decoration. Some people feel that if fishes are around, it gives good luck, so and so forth. So for farming, for you having fishes as pet, and people have very nice small aquarium. It could be part of zoo also, right? As a part of social interaction in zoo or in a water park and so forth. So fish farming, it's historical. It is historical, it must have started since the human civilization must have tried to settle, at the coast of river to get access to free water. So when they were accessing free water, so they got access to fishes also. So I believe that fish became as a part of our food when, as a civilization, many centuries ago, we settled down on the banks of river we have free water, and then when free water comes, with free water you can have agriculture, you can have fishes, so and forth. So human civilization, we settled intentionally across the beds of river to have free access to water. And you can see that Indus Valley civilization or Nile Valley, there are many civilizations that came up at the bank of Euphrates and Tigris in Iraq, and so other countries. So important fishes could include carp, salmon, tilapia, catfish, and many other fish. And tuna is one of the most, I'm sure that very staple food for sandwiches, lunch, breakfast, anything. So fish farming is good for ornamental purposes and also for eating. Okay, so China leads in the export. So China has 61%, exports 61% of seafood, and that corresponds to 79 million tons. This is a little bit older data, I must admit honestly, but I'm sure it will only have increased because the world population is increasing, and and the choice of seafood as a food has also grown. So China leads amongst those countries which does fish farming and also export, and it exports around 79 to 80 millions of seafood across the globe, and so on and so forth. Crustaceans. Crustaceans are shrimp, prawns, and they are also almost 1.6 million tons, and it brings to US around 9 billion. But these I must again admit that these are a little bit old data. I am sorry, I should update, and but it will always grow. And I remember when there was a spill of oil, crude oil in the Gulf area, New Orleans area, there was major shortage of seafood across the country for a while. And so you can imagine that how businesses are dependent upon. So there are people who engage in farming, there are people who are engaged in processing fish food, and then there are end consumers like us, restaurant business. So there is a whole chain that gets impacted by one product, right? Even oyster farming is same. So pay attention here. Now here I would like to change gears so I want to move into fish or use of sea organisms or aquatic organisms as a research tool. So what you see in the figure, I want you to pay attention on this figure. And so what you see here is, so just pay attention, you see here sequence, a DNA, which is green color coded, and in the center it writes GFP. And here you see that the whole fish has turned into green. So I'll come back to this slide, but let me explain to you how fishes serve as a model to study human diseases, especially complex diseases. For example, neurodegenerative diseases that we cannot study. Why we cannot study neurodegenerative diseases? Because the onset of the disease is very slow. It's only when people, let's say, they realize that, one is losing or there is a memory is losing, then you realize, but sometimes it is already too late. And we don't know what genes are involved in memory loss due to aging or accidents. So a lot of proteins that are involved, a lot of genes that are involved in brain network, nervous system, we don't have a clear understanding. So in these diseases, fish serves as a model. So let's talk about research, biomedical research a little bit. So what scientists do, so let's say this is a, let's say this is a gene. This is a gene, right? Let's name this gene as gene A, right? And let's say a scientist is doing research, and that scientist gets a promising results that this gene might be implicated in a disease such as any new. Let's take any example such as Alzheimer's disease, such as, let's say, Parkinson's disease, right? Now this is a very tough disease to have, and so coming back, let's say a scientist thinks based upon his or her data that gene A could be responsible for Parkinson's, but the scientist doesn't know how this gene behaves, because we cannot track these genes in human cell. That's unethical, it will be difficult, right? And it's possible that the disease has already started, so you don't have a starting point. At what point this gene was behaving when there was a day zero to the beginning of Parkinson's disease. So what scientists do, they tag this gene with a green marker, right? So the scientists, what do scientists do? They tag this gene with a green marker. Now, what I'm using the word green marker is nothing but this is another gene that makes a protein, GFP. And GFP stands for green fluorescent protein. Green fluorescent protein. So let's say this is gene A, which is implicated in Alzheimer, and we don't, or Parkinson, and we don't understand the function. But now, please pay attention that now there is a tag here. There is a tag here, which is called as GFP. So this protein will, this GFP will work as a flag. So this gene A will make a protein through the process of transcription and translation, and this protein will be a fusion protein. Fusion protein. So fusion protein, how do we make this? We will take the gene of GFP and we'll take human gene A, which could be involved in Parkinson's. We'll fuse them together through restriction enzyme and DNA ligase. So now this is a fusion protein. So this GFP will serve as a marker, as a tag. So let's say if there is a cell, if let's say this is a cell, if this is a cell, and this cell has this cell has a nucleus. Now scientists, they want to study gene A, which is a fusion protein. Now let's say if the GFP is present in the nucleus, this means that this gene A makes a protein that has it's a nuclear protein. So this opens a thought process in scientists to look at nuclear function. It could be in cell cycle, it could be in replication, it could be in transcription. Now, it is also possible that this protein could be in cytoplasm. So this will lay the beginning of a different kind of story, that it has a cytoplasmic function. Or it could be more complicated, that it could be both nucleus and cytoplasm. So all these will raise questions. So yes, you get a clue. At least we were knowing nothing about gene A. Now we know that this could be either in nucleus or in cytoplasm. So they can further manipulate the gene to understand the function, whether it regulates the cell cycle or nervous system or exchange of ions for transmission of signals, so many things. So they can study in different cell types, neuronal cell type, because it has to do with Parkinson's or any other neurodegenerative diseases. So this is one thing. But why in fishes? Because fishes, if you remember the slide I showed you, fishes have a transparent body as compared to, let's say, a rat, a mouse, or a bunny, using it as a model. Fishes are transparent, so one can see with naked eye. There is no need of sophisticated microscope to see in which part of body it is. A protein could be just, it could be present in the cells, but it could be located just in the brain, right? So the brain part will be eliminated. But in this situation, you see that GFP protein is all over the body. So it's possible that this is a protein that is tagged to GFP, which is present in every cells. It could be a ubiquitous protein. So fishes, to revise, fishes have various uses. It could be for food, and the fishes, I mean seafood. It could be for a purpose of providing high quality, protein rich, low fat food, uh, uh, or it could be used as a research tool. This is a very small chapter on aquatic biotechnology. But for this, we must understand, for generating fishes as research tool, we must understand earlier chapter, which is on recombinant DNA technology. Okay, so we finish this chapter. Thank you.